We're delighted tonight to have Alistair Cook, captain of the England cricket team, and Simon Lee, CEO of RSA, one of Britain's biggest insurers, here this evening. The intention and the aim is to explore the issues around leadership, its challenges, succession planning, execution, and many other wonderful themes as well. We aim to compare the different strategies deployed in the corporate and sporting worlds and see what parallels there are. When you take over, you're not given an awful lot of notice. How do you go around planning?
Yeah, we didn't get much notice. We were about to play a one-day game against South Africa this summer in Southampton. It was a day-nighter, so I was lying in my bed watching Holmes Under the Hammer or something. And great programme, by the way. And I got a phone call from Andy Flair saying, "Look, can you just pop downstairs? I need to talk to you about something." It's been an interesting 2 months, obviously, clearly with what's gone on. But it's an exciting time, isn't it, to become a captain when you've got 2 Ashes series in 18 months, India away, and an ICC trophy. Yeah, I mean, can't wait to go on the plane in next week and actually play cricket, which is what we're meant to do. And Straussy spoke to me at length and was concerned that my first job as a captain was to make quite a big decision, a very big decision, and hopefully we've made the right one concerning KP, and I'm sure we have. And it's great that we've now got a world-class player, back in our team, and we've got to have our best players playing for England. And I think that was very important in our decision making about what's gone on and how we deal with it. Yes, it's taken a bit of time, but these decisions can't be rushed.
How do you then leap from being part of the team to leading the team?
No, I think you've got the most important thing is you've got to be your own person. And if you try to imitate what's gone before you, then I think that is absolutely the road to ruin. And Alistair's got to where he has by being true to himself. I think I've got to where I have by being true to myself. And if I were to then go into a new job and try to do something in a completely different way to what I've done over the last 20 odd years, I think people, first of all, they see through you straight away, and your credibility would be blown, and you lose respect as a result. So I think the most important thing is to be true to yourself, keep with what has allowed you to be successful up till now.
I think it's very important, the captaincy role in cricket compared to a rugby game where, especially on the field, you only really decide whether you're going to go for 3 points or who's going to take the penalty in football kind of thing. It's not, but in cricket you're making decisions all the time, aren't you? Who's going to bowl, and you're very much the boss on the field. And clearly with the role with Andy, he's very keen that everything which goes on the field is my decision. But one of the great strengths of cricket team, I think, is because it's quite a strategic game at certain times, actually all the time, you've got to have 10 other people thinking like a captain. You've got to have people running up to you and say, have you thought about moving this guy here? Or have you thought about bowling different end of the slope at Lord's, for example? I think if you're not having people thinking like that, as a side, you'll be dysfunctional.
I've been taught 2 really important lessons in life. One is a guy that said, reach for the stars, because if you get to the moon, you'll have done a fantastic job. And so set your aspirations really high, and even if you don't quite reach those very high aspirations, you'll do a lot better than if you set yourself very low aspirations. That's the first thing. And the other thing, which I think is really important, is know what you don't know, and don't be afraid to admit that you don't know stuff. One of the hardest things any businessman, any leader will come across is when they have one of their top performers, and this is not meant in any way as a comment on the England cricket team, but this is a comment on any industrial situations, when they have one of their top performers whose behaviours aren't exactly as you'd want. And I think it's really difficult and dangerous in my environment because people look at the tone from the top. And so if you've got one of the members of the top team who's not behaving as you'd like them to, that is a message that gets translated right the way down through your organisation.
Cricket clearly is an individual sport when you're batting and bowling, but you have to play as a team. And I know this is very cliched, but you showed when we were in 2009, 2010, 2011, when we played our best cricket, is when we were clearly united as a side and we were very tight as a side. It's definitely part of my responsibility. One of my big things as a captain, I think, is trying to get people to feel comfortable playing football. That's one of the challenges. It's, all the players there's a lot of 20, 30 players I could pick, I reckon, who are far better players than me technically, but it's how they adapt to playing for England and what goes around. The more media, people are always watching you, you're scrutinised a lot more, you're playing high pressure situations all the time. There's never a moment when it's not. So one of my challenges over the next couple of years is trying to make people feel comfortable in what they're doing. Not so much in the team, but when they're walking up to bat.
How do you both cope with the media? I mean, it can be pretty brutal. I mean, both a CEO of a business, when things go wrong, it can get personal very quickly, and it gets very personal in cricket.
I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Twitter, and I'm not really on any social network, so it's perfect. So I don't really open myself up to any media at all. But when you become captain, suddenly the media manager is walking to your press conference and says, by the way, this has been said about you, this has been said about you, this has been said about the team. So they're preparing you for what's going on. So you end up knowing exactly what's getting written about you. So suddenly that was, when I got made one day captain, that was something massively changed. I never really read the media. So now I do know what's going on because I have to. Because if someone asks me a question here about something, I need to be slightly prepared of what's going on.
And so you brush that aside a little bit, because I mean it is quite personal business coverage. The shareholders can be very aggressive when things go wrong. Are you saying that you haven't had it yet, or?
Well, not yet,
yeah.
But I'm very conscious of the possibility of it, and I think you've got to have an eye on how something will present itself in the media, because that's the reputation of your company. And if you're blind to the reputation of the company, then it's not just about me. It's about all the staff that work in the country, all our customers will form a pejorative impression of the company. And I absolutely agree with Alistair that the media exaggerate. I think it's evolved. I don't think I've done something dramatically different, because I'd sort of come to the view that it seems to be working. And it goes back to the point I said earlier on about being true to yourself, knowing what you don't know. Credibility is hard won, easily lost. And so I think it's been an evolution.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been in the job that long, really. I mean, everyone said to me when I took over the one-day captaincy, go and speak to people, go and find out information, go and see how Keith Fletcher did it, see how Graham Gooch did it. And I did, I spoke to him about it, but what I've learned from those 18 months is it doesn't matter who you talk to. The only time I really have gained captaincy experience and knowledge is by doing the job.
How natural, that's the question both, how natural is leadership? I mean, Strauss seems to me was a natural leader. Vaughan was a natural leader, not a very good dancer, but a natural leader. Freddie Flintoff wasn't. So, are you a natural leader? And are you a natural leader?
I think it's whether you want to be, because not everyone wants to be a leader. And I've got plenty of technical actuaries and underwriters in our business who the last thing they want to do is go out and lead. And I'm sure you've got guys playing cricket with you who the last thing they want to do that is they want to practice their skill and do the best they can for the team. So I think there's got to be a sort of desire from within to lead, and a confidence as well, because there's no point being a leader if you don't think you can do it. I mean, that confidence needs to be tempered with humility. But there are certain attributes that people have that will command respect.
When I first started playing cricket, I wanted to play cricket for England. I didn't dream about becoming a captain. And now, I'm so honoured to become a captain, and I'm going to give it my all. But when people ask me about it, I always say, well, other people have seen me as a leader. And that's the way I go about it. So Andy Flower, people who make decisions about the England team, the teammates or whatever, that they see me as a leader.